The acronym BRICS represents 5 major emerging economies: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Together, they represent a significant portion of the global population, landmass, and economic output. BRICS has gained attention as a potential counterweight to the Western-dominated world order. These factors have pushed BRICS nations to collaborate more closely. They are building their own systems of trade, finance, and security. This shift could reshape the geopolitical landscape profoundly. The rise of BRICS is a complex phenomenon with far-reaching implications. After World War II, Western powers established institutions like the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund to govern the global economy. These institutions, while designed to promote stability, have been criticized for a Western-centric worldview. Developing nations, including BRICS, argue they lack fair representation. This has fueled a desire for alternative systems. The new Development Bank, established in 2014, aims to fund infrastructure in emerging economies. The BRICS Contingent Reserve Arrangement counters the Western-dominated SWIFT system. These institutions show BRICS's desire for a more equitable world order. The use of economic sanctions and trade restrictions by Western nations has also contributed to closer ties within BRICS. When one member faces sanctions, others often step in to provide economic support and alternative trading partnerships. For example, after Russia's annexation of Crimea in 2014 and the subsequent Western sanctions, China became a key trading partner for Russia. This dynamic has strengthened ties between these BRICS members, fostering greater economic and political cooperation. They have also sought to reduce their reliance on the US dollar for trade and financial transactions. This has further fueled the development of alternative financial systems like the CRA. While sanctions are intended to punish and deter certain actions, they can have the unintended consequence of pushing targeted countries closer to other partners. This dynamic is particularly relevant in the context of BRICS, where members often share a sense of solidarity against what they perceive as Western double standards. The rise of protectionist trade policies in some Western countries has also created opportunities for BRICS nations. As traditional markets become less open, BRICS countries have deepened trade ties amongst themselves. They have also expanded their economic influence in other parts of the developing world. China's Belt and Road Initiative, for example, has become a major infrastructure and development project across Asia, Africa, and parts of Europe. This initiative has allowed China to strengthen ties with numerous countries, many of which are eager for investment and less concerned about potential Western criticisms of China's human rights record or political system. The shift towards protectionism has also prompted BRICS nations to advocate more forcefully for a rules-based multilateral trading system. They see this as a way to ensure fair competition and prevent discriminatory practices. This stance resonates with many developing countries who are also seeking a more equitable global trading order. The trend towards unilateral action by some Western powers has created a vacuum in global leadership. This has opened space for BRICS nations to present themselves as defenders of multilateralism and international cooperation. BRICS countries have increasingly used platforms like the United Nations to advocate for their interests and offer alternative solutions to global challenges. For example, BRICS nations have been vocal in calling for reforms to the UN Security Council to make it more representative of the current global power balance. They have also been active in international climate change negotiations, with China and India playing increasingly important roles. This shift towards greater multilateral engagement reflects BRICS's growing confidence on the world stage. They are no longer content to be rule takers and are increasingly seeking to shape the rules of the game. This more assertive posture is partly a response to the perceived decline of Western-led multilateralism. The 2008 global financial crisis, largely attributed to weaknesses in the Western financial system, significantly eroded trust in the US dollar as the world's reserve currency. This prompted BRICS nations to accelerate their efforts to reduce their reliance on the dollar and explore alternative reserve currencies. This has led to increased use of national currencies for bilateral trade and investment within BRICS. They have also explored the possibility of creating a new international reserve currency based on a basket of their currencies. While such a move faces significant hurdles, it highlights the desire to reduce dependence on the Western-dominated financial system. The BRICS nations are also increasingly investing in gold as a safe haven asset. This move is seen as a hedge against potential instability in the Western financial system. Their growing gold reserves further reduce their dependence on the US dollar and traditional reserve currencies. Section 7. Regional conflicts and shifting alliances. Western involvement in regional conflicts, often perceived as driven by self-interest, has also pushed BRICS countries to forge closer ties. They often share a common view of these conflicts, advocating for peaceful resolutions through dialogue and diplomacy. This shared perspective stands in contrast to what they perceive as Western interventionism. For example, BRICS nations have generally taken a more cautious approach to the conflict in Syria compared to Western powers. They have called for a political solution while opposing regime change through military intervention. This approach has resonated with many countries in the global south, who view Western involvement in the region with suspicion. This convergence on issues of peace and security has further strengthened ties within BRICS. It has also led to greater cooperation on counter-terrorism efforts and intelligence sharing. This cooperation is driven by a shared interest in regional stability and a desire to counter what they see as Western double standards. Section 8. The social divide, a common thread. Beyond geopolitical and economic factors, a growing social and cultural divide between the West and BRICS also plays a role in their diverging paths. Many in BRICS perceive a sense of Western arrogance and a lack of respect for their values and traditions. This perception is fueled by historical grievances, cultural differences, and a sense of being talked down to. This perceived cultural divide has made BRICS nations more assertive in defending their own models of development and governance. They reject the notion that Western-style liberal democracy is the only path to progress. This stance has resonated with many countries in the global south who face similar challenges and are wary of Western prescriptions. This growing social and cultural divide has contributed to a sense of solidarity among BRICS nations. They see themselves as part of a broader movement challenging the traditional Western-dominated world order. This shared sense of purpose further strengthens their resolve to forge their own path. Section 9. A New Dawn, the future of BRICS in a multipolar world. The rise of BRICS is a complex and multifaceted phenomenon with far-reaching implications for the future of global governance. While the West remains a significant economic and military power, its relative influence is waning as BRICS nations continue to grow and assert themselves on the world stage. The future is likely to be characterized by a more multipolar world order, with BRICS playing an increasingly prominent role. This new order will require greater cooperation and understanding between all major powers, including the West and BRICS. Navigating this new world order will require a shift away from zero-sum thinking and towards a more collaborative approach. The West must recognize that its own actions have contributed to the rise of BRICS and adapt to this new reality. Section 10. Conclusion. The West's unintentional hand in BRICS' rise. The rise of BRICS is not simply a story of their own making. Western policies and actions, often driven by self-interest or a failure to adapt to a changing world, have inadvertently contributed to the growing influence of BRICS on the world stage. From economic sanctions to protectionist trade policies, from military interventions to a perceived lack of respect for different cultural values, the West has at times pushed BRICS nations closer together and fueled their desire for alternative systems of global governance. The rise of BRICS presents both challenges and opportunities for the West. It is essential to approach this new reality with a balance of realism and pragmatism. Engaging with BRICS constructively and finding common ground on issues of mutual interest will be crucial for navigating the complexities of the 21st century.